Hey friends, your brother in Christ George here. Thanks for joining me for our discussion on Jonah. This is part 1 of a short 3-part series. Be sure to watch all 3. While many are fasting during this time for a few days, recalling the messages behind this Old Testament prophet's life, it seems right to encourage one another with a short study. The Apostle Paul reminds us, "How shall people hear if the word is not shared?" Therefore, remember to share these messages so that others can join in our short study. Who is Jonah? You recall a story about a man and a whale, but who is he? Is he a real person? What do we know about him? Well, Jonah was a real man and a prophet of God. He was a Hebrew prophet who lived in the northern kingdom of Israel at the time. In fact, there is a historical reference of Jonah in the book of the 2nd Kings, chapter 14, verse 25. Jonah was a well-known prophet in his time. Both the book of Jonah and 2nd Kings described him as the son of Amittai. We know he lived in a land called Gath-Hepher, which is near Galilee, or the Sea of Galilee. Looking back to the Bible for history, during the days of King Solomon's son, Rehoboam, there was a revolt in the nation of Israel, and it had been divided into a northern and southern kingdom. King Jeroboam was a king of the northern kingdom, and it was during his reign that Jonah the prophet lived. Also, Jesus, our Lord, references Jonah. In the Gospel according to Matthew in chapter 12, verse 39, we read, "But he answered and said unto them, An evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given to it, but the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth." So you see, Jonah is referenced not only in the book of Jonah, but also in the historical books of the Old Testament, and in the New Testament, of which the Lord Jesus himself validates the existence and true story. Now we can better appreciate Jonah as a real and historical person, not a fairy tale, since there are no real fairy tales in the Bible, all true stories. Let's first orient ourselves to Jonah's experience by looking at the context of the opening chapter. Jonah, as we pointed out, is from the region that we know as Israel, near the Sea of Galilee, from a land known as Gath-Hepher. Right about there. We read in the first 3 verses the following. "Now the word of the Lord came unto Jonah the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare of it, and went down into it, to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord." So we see here that the Lord called out to Jonah to deliver a fierce warning to Nineveh. He says, "Jonah, I want you to travel from right here to right here and deliver this message." What was Jonah's response? No thanks. I'm gonna go over there, way over there. So you see, looking at a map, you can see that Jonah was just looking to go the farthest possible point away from where God desired for him to go. The Lord asked him to go 500 miles over in this direction. Jonah said, "No thanks. I think I'll just catch the next ship at Joppa and sail across the Mediterranean more than 2,500 miles in that direction." Oh boy. If bringing this point to light doesn't reveal Jonah's complete rebellion against God's request to him, then nothing will. Oh, Jonah, I bet you're going to teach us something really cool, huh? Well, who wrote this book? That seems to be left open. But when you read the personal thoughts, the personal prayers inside the whale, the lessons received by Jonah, one might think he wrote this for us. And reading the book, there's just isn't any compelling reason to think he may not have written it. The one thing that is for sure, however, is that the Holy Spirit of God inspired it and put it where it is for us to study. By now, we should all have some simple but good background foundation and context for who Jonah is. This was part 1 of a 3-part series, so be sure to watch part 2 and 3 and remember to share it so that others can join us while we gain insight into this awesome and true book. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen.